Phil, you were commentating on the game, kind of same old from Real. Exactly what we've seen recently, so inconsistent.
It was quite taxing for me to commentate this game.
Very good.
Yeah, no, it was. Listen, it was the same old from Real Madrid. Again, a game where they actually started okay in this game. There's quite a lot of intensity. First 10, 15 minutes, they did pretty well. You know, the first half, it wasn't awful from Real Madrid. But the second half, there wasn't enough from them. It was like last week against Mallorca with the league title on the line, with not enough commitment shown from the players. And tonight, it was slightly strange. It was not enough commitment in a different kind of way, because they created chances. They had 22 shots in this game, 9 shots on target. But it was like in the final third, they lacked the clarity and they lacked the capacity to make the right decisions. They had some really good openings here, and it was just a bit lackadaisical from Real Madrid, almost like they weren't aware of the magnitude of this game. They've given up any chance of winning the league title, and they've done it with a whimper, really. And I think that's what's going to be, well, I don't know if it's most disappointing for Real Madrid fans, because it's been a very disappointing season, but that's definitely going to be disappointing. You know, the Bernabeu at the final whistle, there were some whistles, there was jeers, they weren't happy, but it was kind of just resigned. It was like, yeah, okay, well, that's it now. It's done. And what this does mean is that it is all on the Champions League now for Real Madrid. They won nothing last season. They're out of the domestic cup competition. They lost the Spanish Super Cup. They're not going to win the league. It is all on the Champions League to make sure they don't go back-to-back trophyless seasons, which is a catastrophe for a club like Real Madrid.
But Phil, are you surprised then that they go with their strongest team in this game? Because Bellingham comes back from injury. He starts in this game. Eder Militao starts giving him a go to potentially get full 90 minutes fit again. But otherwise, it was the team that I imagine will start in that game against Bayern in the second leg. Having played on Tuesday, you're surprised there wasn't more rotation. And really, they kind of seem resigned in both competitions.
Yeah, maybe. I think, you know, there's enough time between they play Friday night to Wednesday for them to recover physically. But I guess you run the risk of injuries. You're seeing the starting 11 here. The idea is that Eduardo Camavinga replaces Tchouaméni, who is suspended for that second leg against Bayern Munich on Wednesday night, and Bellingham and Valverde with Brahim coming in. That was the idea that they had. And I guess the notion was today, try and test that out. And it was a dry run for Munich, which didn't turn out particularly well. You know, Trent was given the night off. He wasn't even on the substitutes bench. Likewise, Rudiger, likewise Carreras as well. So they were just given the night off. And I guess the idea was to, you know, see if we can get in the mood and get these players playing together for Munich. And, you know, you'll see that starting 11. It should be good enough. And I think there are bright spots as well in this performance from Real Madrid. I thought Brahim did pretty well. I think Bellingham continues to looking to get back to his best. I thought, you know, Dani Carvajal looks completely fully fit and ready for a starting spot as well. So those were some potential bright spots in what was, you know, another really underwhelming performance from Real Madrid.
Phil, Ian and I had a discussion after the Champions League game, the first leg, about whether or not there is a way back for Real Madrid to cause an upset and get past Bayern Munich. And I was saying, I mean, I don't necessarily believe this is the case, but I was saying that there's always a chance with a side like Real Madrid, when they've got, you know, these Galacticos, star players, Vinny Jr., Kylian Mbappe, Bellingham, some of the others, that they can create a bolt from the blue and just win the game on their own. An individual can win them the game. But at the moment, Real Madrid don't seem to have those individual performances. Can you see that happening?
Yeah. Well, I agree with you, and I agree with your assessment. And, you know, I'm quite happy to be disagreeing with what Ian was saying. I agree with what you were saying, because, you know, they do have the level of player that is good enough to create a moment of brilliance and then to be able to win a game. But as you were just pointing out very clearly, Adam, the big players aren't performing. Like, you know, Kylian Mbappe tonight had some really good chances, which he didn't take. He's gone 4 league games without scoring, Kylian Mbappe. And I know strikers go through dry spells, but he shouldn't be going through these kind of dry spells against quite limited opponents, or low-key LaLiga opponents. He has been unable to find the back of the net despite having some really good chances. Vinny tonight was one-dimensional. He was trying, but it was the same old thing, which was well read by his markers. And so when there isn't that individual spark, it's the same old story. There is no collective plan for Real Madrid. Players start drifting and playing in all sorts of different positions, popping up all over the pitch, trying to make something happen. And nothing happened. And, you know, if there isn't that individual brilliance, then they really struggle. And that has been a theme for Real Madrid. And for something to happen in Munich, you need those big players to be coming into this game absolutely flying. And Vini isn't flying, and Kylian Mbappe certainly isn't flying.
Very quickly, because I want to ask about Fede Valverde. Do you think it was a penalty in that last-minute incident with Girona where the center back throws an elbow up and it catches Mbappe?
I think it could have been given. I thought it was going to be looked at. I was doing it with my co-commentator, and we were looking at the challenge. He was looking at the challenge on Mbappe's legs, and he thought it was a penalty. And I was looking at the elbow in his face, and I thought, oh, that could be looked at. So yeah, I mean, I kind of expected him to go and have a look at it at the monitor, but he didn't. You know, it wasn't given. Real Madrid have got out of jail a few times this season with penalties, and tonight it didn't happen. I thought it was probably going to be given, but it wasn't. And I don't think they didn't deserve to win the game tonight. And obviously, penalties are given if a foul is committed, not because if someone deserves to win a game or not. But I thought it would have been a real get out of jail card for Real Madrid, because again, it wasn't a performance worthy of a victory.
Let's transition to the game on Saturday then, as Barcelona take on Espanyol in the Catalan derby. From when we look at the form guide, Barcelona, 15 home games in La Liga this season. They won all 15 of them. Do you imagine that this continues? How much does the Champions League being on Tuesday shape their perspective going into this match?
Yeah, listen, if you look at the record of the respective sides, Espanyol have not won in 2026.
Good Lord.
The only team in La Liga not to win in the calendar year. Barcelona have won every home game that they've played this season. Espanyol haven't beaten Barcelona since the 2008-2009 season. So I think you could say that, you know, history is very much on Barcelona's side. I'm just interested, actually, how much maybe this result tonight maybe conditions how Hansi Flick's approached the game, and maybe there are more rotations than we might have previously thought of for Barcelona. Because if they're thinking, look, we've got worst, even if we lose this game, we're still 6 points ahead of Real Madrid. So maybe he thinks, you know, if there was a doubt about anybody starting this game, you know, the starting 11 on your screen here is possible. I think maybe we might see Rooney Bardghji in there, Lamine playing maybe centrally. Maybe we'll see No, I think that's quite close, actually. I think that's quite close. So there we go, something like that. But Barcelona really should win this game. They really should be 9 points clear. And the best way for them to get fired up and to go into a game where they need to score at least 2 goals, maybe 3, is to comfortably beat Espanyol. And in theory, Espanyol are the perfect opponents, an opponent who they always beat and who are badly out of form.
Phil, we'll have to wait and see. Great stuff as always. We'll speak to you soon here on Scoreline.